yes, for sure.
You couldn't have picked a more picture-perfect day.
I know. I was expecting it to be a really brutal winter.
Yeah.
So I've been going through a list of reflections. If you were talking to your past self, wouldn't you encourage them to persevere with the difficult stuff, because getting out there in itself is worth it?
Yeah, like, for me, this could have gone, like, two ways. It could have gone the way that I went out there, I did it, and I just hated it. Closed the stage fright thing. It would be completely overwhelming. The other way would be more or less the way that it went.
Yeah.
I would do it and it wouldn't be anything like as bad. In fact, the conclusion I would draw from it would be I should have done this much sooner. I have a very good track record of distracting myself. Work is always a distraction. The general kind of maintenance of being alive, doing laundry, getting groceries, they're all distractions, and in a way they're excuses to not do something meaningful, for example, with the day. If you fill your consciousness with that kind of stuff, that's going to be the bulk of the life you live. It's like an inner compass. You always know, you always have an instinct for where you need to be, or where you should be, or where you want to be, and if all the trappings of the life that you sustain weren't there, you'd probably be doing them. Trusting your intuition as opposed to listening to not just other people, but your own voices of doubt, which of course other people and other structures can kind of amplify.
Anybody who's doing it, following their dreams, you're doing it for the love. That's what people say. You were exhausted for most of the series. Another reason why that adds courage. You've been pushing through with lack of sleep, all of this shit. But I will say that is how these things go. You need to, if you want to make a change in your life, you have to push through a lot of stuff, and that is the reality of these things, but you do get credit for that.
Some of the playing I've done in those performances is some of my worst playing in my life. I suppose the encouraging thing for me is it's still there, it needs some nurturing.
No matter what, you just got to figure out what you need to do, set yourself goals, and just keep moving forward. We can see that from you. That's all you've got to do, and anyone can do it. That is the point. Whatever the dream is, big or small. Doing this kind of stuff with your friends is really fun, and you have nothing to lose. Really, you have nothing to lose. This is all about the journey. If you're not enjoying the journey, then you're missing the point of doing this.
I guess it's more, it is more, you say it's more about the journey. It's more about treading the path regardless of where the wind is blowing you, and also not trying to over-intellectualize it. You can rationalize not doing something very easily 1,000 different ways, but you'll end up unsatisfied as a result. The awesome thing for me is I have challenges to navigate with the job I'm doing and my visa stuff, and how I can make this part of my life. I have ambition and hope for where I can go and what I want it to evolve into. And I suppose the bigger difference, or at least the immediate challenge, is I know how much work that will take now. And it's non-trivial. Stay as close to your instinctive path as you can, in spite of everything. Omicron variant included. I think the best you can do sometimes is to do something positive in a what seems like a world of overwhelming negativity.
All right, so let's head back. Let's just get one shot of the Canadian flag.
All right.
Chuck just called me. He just got off of work at the hostel, and he is on his way here, and he got his visa result. He thought he was going to get an email or a letter, but he didn't. The lawyer that he was dealing with just called him and told him the answer over the phone, so he wasn't able to do that. So he knows the answer, but I purposely didn't ask him what it was, so our reactions when he gets here will both, I don't know what it is. But he doesn't sound like he's in a bad mood. Would he be so chipper and jumping over here if he was in a bad mood? But what, maybe he's like, fuck Canada now, and he's just not in a bad mood. Another thing is when I went to that clothes store to pick up that order, the guy that gave me his order was from Leeds, English, not very far away from where Chuck's from.
Oh yeah.
He came over on a visa, applied for PR and got it. It's a good time, he said, for this. So
really,
you know, even if he was like fuck the visa, I would have been defeated because he spent like a lot of money on this lawyer and all this shit. Right, he's just calling. Here he comes.
Friend. So here's the thing. This didn't happen the way we planned.
In what way?
Well, because there was going to be a letter.
Oh, that thing.
Or at least an email.
I thought you meant the visa result.
Mm-hmm. So it just kind of, that part didn't go to plan. But I can give you my honest response.
Yeah, go on then.
So it's a rejection.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was good because you don't seem to be in a shitty mood.
No, I've been in a fairly shitty mood for since I got the news.
Huh.
But it wasn't entirely unexpected.
I was just saying to fucking Nathan, like, that I talked to a guy when I went and picked up something in town from fucking York, and he got his approved, and I was like, what the fuck?
What's he doing? What's his job?
Well, he's working in a clothes shop, like a department.
What?
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
It must be the luck of the draw.
Well, that's fucking shit. I seriously wasn't expecting you to say that. I mean, like, before the phone call, like, I wouldn't, and meeting that guy, I didn't think the odds were in your favour. But, yeah, I'm sorry to do that, man.
I've kind of had a bad feeling all along. I don't know if that...
You did say that, but, yeah, I mean, like...
It doesn't necessarily mean anything, right?
It doesn't mean that it wasn't worth trying.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that, like, that it was even close to impossible, but I would have agreed with you.
I don't regret, like, applying for the visa. I don't even regret the money it cost. It wasn't, like... It was a gamble. I knew it was a gamble. It does leave me with fewer options, like, from this point.
So before we talk to the options, like, how do you feel?
I feel frustrated. I feel deflated. Now at least, you know, I have more limited options, but I can make them with some sense of certainty.
So what are these limited options?
So my options are I applied to study here. I would have to jump through various hoops to get to that stage. So then, like, exams I would have to do, and obviously a course I would have to pick.
Did you go to university?
No.
So this is like your what will you be applying for, so to speak?
I don't know. Fucking anything.
Yeah.
I just need to find a way to move forward somehow.
Any other options that you've got in mind?
That's pretty much it. It's either be a student or find a sponsor, and finding a sponsor at this stage.
What sponsor for what? Like
for a different job. Like, but no one's gonna hire a guy who needs a sponsor. Because you're saying, oh, please hire me, and also please spend this extra money on someone that's complete unknown to you.
What's the extra money part of it? You have to pay to...
The employer has to put up a contribution.
Which is how much?
Which is several thousands of dollars.
What, as in to sort of like justify the demand for this person?
Yeah. So it's like...
Wow.
That's a hard sell at the best of times.
Where are you at now? How much time have you got left?
I have 90 days to renew my status, to apply for some form of valid status. Be that as a visitor.
How does the prospect of not being able to stay in Canada feel? Like, be honest.
That prospect is bullshit. I still feel like I will do everything I can to not let it get to that. I only have 90 days to do it, but I feel more at home here. It's the potential of building a life here that I still see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm willing to live in my tiny box apartment and do a pretty stressful job for very little money for this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's building something which I can see to be better.
Yeah.
I don't have that sense of the future in Britain, and I haven't for a very long time.
But Canada is, you feel in your heart, the place for you.
Yeah, my friends are here. Like, this is my home.
So just to remind us all, how long have you been in Canada for? 4 years?
Yeah, coming up to. It must be
4 years
almost
is a
for.
long time.
It must be almost for about.
Did you feel that Canada was a home, like, sort of, as soon as you got here, so to speak? Yeah?
Within like 2 weeks. There's a sense of acceptance here.
Yeah.
Or a sense of. More a sense of. Validation, perhaps. Just for. You can be yourself, kind of thing. I don't know.
Or you feel that you can be yourself.
Yeah. There's this doubt in my mind, I would say, as to whether or not I'm going about this or have been going about this in the right way.
In what? In terms of?
Even before I went with this application, with this workplace, knowing that it was a gamble, the kind of reason that it was my only option, there was this other thought in my head that, like, yeah, but do you really want to be going back to the hostel? What are you sacrificing in order to make this happen? And I don't know, there's something about doing something that doesn't feel right. Sometimes I wonder if the universe is sending me messages, is what I'm saying. Well, I'm saying that it could be saying that actually the status quo that I'm continuing here isn't where I should be, or isn't how I should be living.
What do you think it is pointing you towards?
It will always point toward music.
Keep following that.
That takes a huge... Yeah, but following it is one thing. Listening to it is one thing. Knowing it's there is one thing. Actually acting on it takes huge...
Leap of faith?
Yeah.
Yeah, take the leap of faith and you won't regret it. Promise. I say that in my entire being. Take the leap of faith and you won't regret it. This can be the leap of faith and you don't have to do it on your own this time. Like, you've got a safety net with, like, friends and shit. You're not going to be fucked. Yeah.
Scary.
Nothing to be scared about.
No.
Alright, good luck, man. I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you.
So you flip the bed up.
Yep.
It's got a little bit messier. It's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. But we're going to do this. We're going to clear this bad boy up. Progress. And that is like a huge job done. How do you feel, Chuck? Did you think we'd get it done today?
No. I'm impressed with this much progress in one day. It's promising. It's promising. Welcome to Shaz Chuck.
Yeah, temporary Casa del Chuck.
Same thing as last time, but reimposed on
Not
somebody
bad.
else's space.
Well, definitely not as bad as the last one. Not good, but not bad for free.
Right now I'm thinking, how badly am I going to fuck this up? Thinking, oh man, this is so tense to watch. Little did he know.
Can you hear it okay?
Yeah. Cribs. I'd be shitting myself if I was doing this on my own.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, it's good to be surrounded by friendly company.
I'm glad.
I second that. For what you said.
Alright. Alright. So we just want update. We just got to fill in the gaps a bit. So you've had a lot of stuff on your mind over the last few months.
January I got my visa result. Off the back of that, I had to apply for basically a restoration status thing.
At the beginning of March, wasn't it?
Yeah, beginning of March sounds about right. Things like this take me a lot of time. And then there was another thing that was similarly admin intensive that came immediately off the back of that. And that took up probably another month and a half.
Mm-hmm. And just to sort of like address why you're being vague, but you can say you can't talk about it for legal reasons, right?
Yeah. It was a lot of work. That thing is still ongoing. It's just kind of, it's sat at another phase of that doesn't require my immediate involvement.
Okay. The question is have you gone out for another bus?
No. Is the honest answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, just explain.
Well, I mean, I've wanted to. Like, the summer just did not go as planned. Between that and another commitment that I also can't mention. The summer just got derailed. And, you know, obviously I ultimately have sole responsibility in that. And, you know, that brings up a whole load of sort of introspective questions that I'm trying to wrestle through. Like, how do I always end up in this situation? Yada, yada, yada. It's not been, like, a fun summer. Not gonna lie. That doesn't mean that I won't. It's just, like this just always seems to happen. It did occur to me in these recent weeks and months that this is not the first time in my life when, on paper, from like an aerial perspective, everything is there for me to do and pursue what I want to pursue. No one's holding like my arms behind my back kind of thing. This is more what I would describe as a Chuck problem. In that I say yes to more things than I in the long run can really fulfill, or I say yes to them by default without really considering the consequences down the road. And then by the time down the road comes around, I have a strong enough sense of obligation to myself and to others to not break those commitments. At least that's what I think is happening. It could be that this is some kind of meta psychological excuse-making exercise in my head, but to cut a long story short, the results is the same. Like, I still end up in a situation where I'm dissatisfied, I'm unhappy, and there's still, like, I will use a Ray LaMontagne lyric, if I may, which is from the song Hobo Blues, which is, I don't know whose life I'm living, but it sure ain't mine. And that's kind of, you know, in a snapshot, that's how I feel a lot of the time, including this time.
Sure. That was really well put.
Thank you, Ray. This is not an unfamiliar headspace for me to be in.
Having done those 5 performances, do you feel that your ambitions are more solidified as a kind of destination, as opposed to it just being this kind of idea in your head?
Yeah, I definitely feel that is the result. That is the result of the project. For me, that's the most important result of the project.
You will be reaching a point soon where you'll be more at a clean slate, not including the visa stuff, that's still sort of very present, but you might find that it will be like a platform to go off where you can start kind of when people say, Chuck, I need you to do this, or Chuck, would you do this, or whatever, you might start being able to say, you know what, I can't do that because I've got this outlook right now, and if I do that, then it's going to get in the way of that. Kind of half and half, training yourself to not feel so obligated to do stuff, and half you didn't really have a outlook to hold yourself to where you're at with the visa and what's going on now.
I got my result 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a surprise result in that they approved me for restoration. They extended me for only a month. So now I have to leave the country with the intention of coming back and basically renewing my time here at the border.
So what's the plan?
Well, I've decided to take a vacation. It's the plan, because that achieves the goal of leaving the country. So I'm going to Colombia for about 10 days.
Best case scenario, you come through, you get an extension on your visitor permit. Worst case scenario, you don't know what the worst case scenario is right now.
I mean, the worst case scenario is they turn me away and I have to decide where to go from there. I'm expecting they won't turn me away, but you never know.
Okay.
Okay, so this is just another day back in Cartagena.
Lemon.
Lemon, oh perfect.